Yeah.
Yes, Rastafari greetings, perfect love in the house. Rastafari greetings, Rastafari greetings. Blessed love family, welcome once again. House of Rastafari 2024, and this is the family coming to you, delivering the sacred chants of Rastafari. The message of redemption, of liberation, of awareness. Yes, the message of freedom on earth, as heaven on earth. So this is what Rastafari is here to do in this festival, Rototom Sunsplash 2024. We started coming here in 2003, well, back then was in Italy, and we haven't stopped by then. So today we just gonna start the next seminar, so don't go away, hold your position, yeah, try to find a little shade, and just full joy, inhale, breathe in the vibration of Rastafari. The family has come from near and far, because the House of Rastafari is not only those speaking here at the table. The House of Rastafari is a family, yeah, coming from many different parts of the world, coming here to deliver a message, coming here to perform a work. So I and I is there, I. So I and I is here today, yeah, not to perform, not to do any live show. This is not a musical performance. Rastafari Naya being a chance is liberation. Naya being a chance is not only praying like in the West we are used to, but is just having an experience of the Almighty. Let's not just pray unto the Almighty. Let's feel, let's experience the divine force that flows in everything and in everyone. So today we are blessed to have a very interesting panel. It's about to start, only a few minutes. We're going to have Iqulah Rastafari, we're going to have Ras Ibi here. The interesting panel of today is about a topic which is very, very discussed since the beginning of time. Happiness, well-being, emotional well-being. So what is happiness? People ask. So poets speak about it, the philosophers, the therapists, the parents, the priests, everybody speak about happiness, even little kids. But what exactly is happiness? And how we can find, or better we should say, how can we manifest happiness? Well, here where Rastafari comes in. Rastafari tradition goes beyond happiness. In many philosophies, happiness is the ultimate goal. But we are not satisfied only being happy. And we'll see why. There is transient happiness, permanent happiness. One day you're happy, the next day you're sad. What's going on? Rastafari aspires to something that goes beyond happiness. And we call it Irieness. Irieness is the quality of being Irie. So this strange word, many of you are not familiar with it, or most of you might be familiar with it because of the reggae music. Irie is a very unique word that you will not find in the dictionary, yeah, because has been invented, we should say, by the Rastafari elders. During the cultural revolutions that took place in Jamaica, between the 50s going to the 60s, the Rastafari elders felt the need of creating a new language. So this is part of the Rastafari intellectual, cultural revolution. This new language was extremely needed, and we'll see why. One of these new words, neologism they call it, is Irie. What is Irie? And why Irie is beyond happiness? How can something be bigger, larger than happiness? When I'm happy, I feel like all the world belongs to me and I belong to the world. I feel the master of the world. But we'll see that there's something more, and it's going to be very interesting. So we're going to talk about elements of Rastafari tradition that we have learned from the elders. They have been handed down from the ancients, from the elders, and that we keep alive. And by keeping them alive, we transform our experience of life. So remember, the topic is from utopia to new creation. How to transform utopia into your own reality, and how to implement this ideal state of being until the moment in which you realize that it's not ideal. It's not only a fleeting vision or dream, but it can be a reality. The only thing that requires is a little bit of work, practice and exercise. Because remember, in this life, in this creation, nothing can survive without being fed. So we need to feed our spirit, our soul, and we need to feed our well-being. Do not take life for granted. Yes, so without further introduction, I would love to have here Iqulah Rastafari, the Rastafari ambassador. Please, let's welcome him with a lot of love. Yes, mi elder, please come and hold the office. And we're gonna have also Ras Ibi, yeah, straight from Ethiopia. And it's a joy to have, yes, Iqulah, yes, sir, with there, Majesty. Iqulah Rastafari, the Rasta ambassador, trotting through creation since years and years.
Give thanks, my brother.
Yeah.
Give thanks to the family, you know. Welcome you all. Bless
Yeah,
you.
man. Ras Ibi, come in. All right. Yes. All right. So I would love, as usual, to start with a little blessing from the item, yeah, for the people here, which has been so kind and decided to be here with us, even though the schedule is quite busy out there. There's many things that you could follow, many places you could go through, but them still decided to be with Irieness.
Irieness,
Yes, sir.
O great thou art, His Majesty. O great thou art, it is He that has made us and not to ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving and into His courts with praise. Being thankful unto Him and bless His name, O Jah, Rastafari. Jah, O Jah, be merciful unto I and hear I when I call. Ever uplift thine eye head to be removed out of the dens of dragon, liars, thief, mongers, and sorcerers. Ever right say I to give praises forever. I have been beaten up for name and language and I'm culture. Just smite dragon that seek our life and I dread salvation. Just stand up for I rights, justice against the unjust rule of Rome and the abomination creators of Babylon, Jews and Gentiles of different races. I have a smite my sun by day and moon by night. Let the ways be dark and slippery. Irie! Jah, Rastafari. Yes, King Haile.
Jah, Rastafari, and Haile Selassie, first ancient King of creation. Blessed is the man and woman that walketh not in the path of unrighteousness. Blessed be everyone that attend unto peace and love within their hearts. Blessed be every eye that come to this Ilah occasion, to full joy this occasion, and strengthen our vibes unto one perfect love. Rastafari, Haile Selassie.
All right. There couldn't be any better introduction, isn't it? So, Ras Iqulah, give thanks for the word, for the sound and the power. So I and I today reasoning about Irieness, because there is something unique to the Rastafari chart, Rastafari Liberty, which is something that we call Irieness. And I just want to recall before to leave the eye speaking, I just want to remember one of our elders always say to I. This man was living in the jungle, similar story than Iqulah, living in the jungle, up in Jamaica, many years, raw food, only fire cuisine, sleeping under the stars. So the original almost hermit style vibration of the Rastafari time, yeah? So this elder used to say to me, and still say to me every time we speak on the phone, Ras Julio, remember, Uno Irie, Afi himself. So that's the thing. Keep this in mind. Uno Irie, Afi himself. The man that is not Irie, the woman that does not feel Irie, has to do something in order to make himself or herself Irie. So keep this in mind while we go through this reasoning, this meditation of today, because once again, don't think that everything is going to come down the sky, but it's you, us, I and I, that have to make things happen. Iqulah Rastafari on the topic of Irieness.
Yes, sir. Feeling Irie?
Yes, I.
Say Irie! Irie! Out of love, yes. When the Rastaman speaks about Irie, and Irieness, it's a total balance in creation. As we say, earth is guided by all natural laws, and closer to nature is closer to the Almighty. So when I and I dwell on the plains of Mama Nature, it makes I and I Irie. Are you feeling Irie? Irie. Rastafari. That's Irieness,
So when the Rastaman say Irie, we say I, that is I. R, rule. E, eternally. I, within I. So the I within I, reign eternally. So we all have a living spirit of the Jah the Almighty within ourselves. So when we can know that, feel that, and always return unto that, whatever we are doing, we can truly be Irie. See?
And also, Irieness is such a wide topic, When some elder speaks about Irie, they said, you can't go over I, you can't go under I, you can't go around I, and without I, you can't see I. Irie.
Rasta. Yes, okay, so as you can see, we already dived in it. Yes, so before we keep growing up in the heights and the heights and the heights, let's give the beautiful people here a kind of general introduction, okay? We're talking about Irie, but what exactly Irie is. So before touching the spiritual dimension, let's analyze even the literal sense of it, okay? Jamaica, 1940s, going to the 50s, going to the 60s, an entire Rastafari generation, man, woman and children, felt that the oppression of Babylon was too strong, too harsh, and Rastaman could not live free in the city, in the ghetto. Yeah? So Rastafari decided to trot up on the hills, and Rastafari liberty became a wall embodying, all including, pervasive revolution. Rastaman say no compromise. Since I trod as Rasta, everything will change in my life. It's not only the food habit, it's not only the appearance, locks, the beard, the tam, the crown, long skirt, the turban. It's not only an external appearance. Yes, it's an inner revolution, but how this inner revolution will be manifested? Not only through the external appearance, but through the language. We know that it's word, sound and power. You might have heard this expression before. Word, sound and power means that the word, any word, has a sound. And that sound has a power when hits you, when resonates in you. So this is a trinity that creation is built on. Word, sound and power. Everything and everybody is structured according to this trinity. When you speak to somebody, you utter a word, but that word can have an effect, because that word has a sound that you can hear, but also has a power that you can feel. So you can hurt somebody or relieve somebody. You can make somebody happy or sad the same way. So word, sound and power. Rastafari elders, they decided that, hey, we're not going to speak any longer as they taught us to speak, because we need to create our own language. Not because we are egocentric or because we have a delusion of grandeur, but because the English language cannot contain the mystical power and dimension and meaning of Ainai liberty and Ainai philosophy. So in order to express better the mystical and the spiritual dimension of our concepts, we needed to create a new language. Somebody called Irie, somebody called it Rastatark. The Rastafari elders transformed the British language and create the Rasta language. One main element of the Rasta language is the presence of I. Everything, well, most of the words start with I. The I, what is I? I is the original divine presence that flows through creation, to anybody, to everybody, and everything that you see in this creation. This is not pantheism, but this is a full oneness. So the Rastafari brothers and sisters, they felt the need to add to their own word the I, which is the first person in British language, I. But it means the perfect connection with divine force, living energy that flows all around us. So when Rastaman say I, does not only mean I like me, but it's I and I. So the I is the principal concept, the basic concept on which this creation stands. I, perfect oneness, heaven and earth, human and divine, celestial and terrestrial. Yes? So Rastafari starts to change the word, adding I at the beginning. So at one point, Rastaman start to greet each other with one very peculiar expression, I free, I free. So when the Rastaman see each other, greet with this expression, I free, I free. What does I free means? Means that I am completely free, not only physically. I'm not only free from chains, but my inner dimension is free. My mind, my intellectual realm is free. So this freeness, which goes also beyond freedom, is what Rastaman was expressing, say, I free. Well, it turns out that I free then became Irie. So Irie comes from I free. And in the panel of today, we're going to see how this element of freedom is so important and crucial when it comes to happiness, emotional well-being, mind, mental liberation, and spiritual elevation. So Irie is I free, concept of freedom and liberation. And the topic of today stands on one very basic principle. There cannot be happiness without liberation. So I free became Irie. As is I.
Yes, sir. Give thanks, beloved. Yeah. And also within the realms of the Irieness, you know, it's like cha-cha. Yes. Yes, cha-cha. Yes. Yes, I within the Irieness, you know. Also, you have other brethren up in the mountains also that only communicate by just saying I. Yes, you know, when I in the jungle, you know, I and I meet out some brethren, you know, I and I live together in the mountains for many years. That's well and reasoning, but when they converse together, it's just I. Like for instance, I just see Ras Ibi now and I want to communicate. I said I, and he would say I. Yeah, I. You know? Yeah, so so the frequency of Irieness and I, because I is first person. So when I said I, see the Irids of I, see iritical fullness, the I bends declare the glory. It's I as the brethren say, use I as the first person. I. In Jamaica they also say I stand, but you bend. Yeah? And I is also not only the first person, it is one.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about Haile Selassie I first, we all are connected. There is just one I. Rastafari.
It is the shortest word, only one letter, but includes everything. So this I is really a mystical connection. Yes, I am who I am. Yeah, most of you must be familiar with this concept. Yeah, I am. It doesn't say my name is, or I am, right? So everybody knows, I think, this passage in the Bible. So the Almighty presence is felt within I and within I and I lives just by experiencing this I. What is experiencing this I? Knowing that you are not only a human being just living your life, but within you you contain a universe, and the heaven and the earth are fused, blend together within you. So this is I. That's why Rastafari very rarely use me, because I is a larger concept. I includes the realms of heaven, the realms of earth, blend together. That's why I, you must have heard this expression, where the first I, it might be me, but the second I is the Almighty, the bigger I within I. That's why we say I, because Rasta cannot separate the Almighty from the life of the person. It's not a religion that you take in maybe 1 or 2 hours a week. It's a all-pervasive, all-including. Yes? So that's why everything we do, in everywhere we go, we carry this I. We are I. At the same time, me and the next virgin is not me and you, but it's I and I. I and the I. Because when I see the I see I and I see I. So this is the Trinity on which we stand. So, yes, we never put one on top of the other. It's a level. It's a level, yes. So, coming now to this Irieness, how could we really define this Irieness? If it's not happiness, but it's something that goes beyond. Irieness, one ancient one time say, when they ask him, what is Irie? Him say, wow, we should write a book about it. It's true. We should write a book about it. So, this little hour that we have here, of course, is not gonna explain it all. But then still is some food for I and I meditation when we go back home and we try to cultivate this dimension of I. Irieness is a dimension of profound freedom, liberation, emotional well-being, where we are in balance and we are not under the constraints of physical, mental, emotional chains. So Irieness is not an emotion, is not a feeling, but is a dimension. So the good book speaks of living in the service of the Almighty all day long. How can you live in the service of the Almighty all day long? No human being could spend all his day praying and reciting prayers. Nobody can do that. You have to eat, you have to speak, you have to do other things. So how can you live in the presence of the Almighty all day long? Is entering this dimension. This is the Rastafari mysticism. This is what goes beyond philosophy, theory and doctrine, and is entering the dimension of Irieness, which is not only smiling and be happy. It's not joy, it's not euphoria. Very different. You have transient happiness, you have permanent happiness, and Majesty speaks about it. You have joy, you have euphoria, you have excitement, you have enthusiasm. But they are not Irieness. They are elements of Irieness. So last year we were talking at the Reg University, and I told the people we have two news, one good news and one bad news. Yeah? So let's start with the bad news. We were talking about peace. If you seek peace, if you look for peace, you're not gonna find it. Never. You're never gonna find it. But the good news is that attaining peace is easier than what you think. so in a sense, we are on a very similar reasoning here. Irieness is a dimension which is composed by different elements.
So when you go home and you cook your food for your children, you put different ingredients together, and you cut them up, and you put them in the pan or in the pot according to time. You don't put everything together and that's it. So you master your cooking, you master your ingredients, because then if you cook them well, what you will obtain, it will be a very nice, pleasant flavor. It's exactly the same thing with Irieness. When you combine the different elements together and you practice them, you exercise them, then the result of it will be Irieness and the product of Irieness. Happiness, serenity, peace at home, peace at your workplace, in your family, your wife will love you more, you will stop arguing and all of that. Your children, you will see you smiling and they will be inspired to smile more. But we cannot jump and just go to the end. So we have to go stage by stage and see the various different elements that contains this Irieness. And of course, only by exercising them we can really get in strong. Yes, sir.
So Ras Julio was also posing the question here that how is it possible to live in the presence of the Almighty at all times? And it's not by prayers as well all the time, but it's in the realization that the Almighty is omnipresent and omnipotent, meaning He is always at all times with I and I. So we can never be astray, we can never move away from Him. So just in that remembrance of the oneness within, one seek perfect peace, because it's to reach up in inner peace also, it takes certain practice. Yeah, it's how one uses one's thought processes. Spiritual practice helps to elevate the mind and the spirit within. It can happen over day, but when one do these practices on a general and daily basis, one also reach the state where you don't let outer happenings affect your inner freedom and your inner peace. And when we can achieve inner peace, we surely can be Irie.
Irie? Irie. Yeah, it's like, I always say, it's a very simple process. It might look hard, right? But the simplest form is to see your life as a beautiful garden. The life that is within you, see it as a beautiful garden. And you just wake up in the mornings. I always say this to people. When you wake in the mornings, take 10 minutes or 15 minutes out of your precious time and walk into your garden, which is your life, and try to identify all the bad weeds in your garden to create that Irieness. And when you weed out those bad weeds, you identify the good flowers, mold them, nurture them, and care for them, and see these flowers bloom within your garden, which is your life. So it takes discipline. See, you don't need the outside forces to help you to create the Irieness. Rastafari said, create a system within the system. See? So no care how Babylon look like them terrible, and Babylon the beasts out there, you have to know that. Go into your garden, which is your life. Think positive. Okay? You might have a bad relationship. Just say, my baby, my darling, listen. Let's meditate. 10 minutes, take it out of your time. Walk into your garden, which is your life. See, and identify all the faults and the problems and the going to the store and the telephone and the this and the that. And just meditate. See, and the higher power. Identify all those bad weeds, clean them out, and work together in total harmony. Positive energies, positive words. Rastafari. Blessings.
Irie. You see, wise man is very simple, very attainable. Yeah, we're not here with big words and great doctrines or theological, philosophical concepts. The beauty of this liberty is that is life. Yes, so we are seeing something very, very crucial here. Irieness and liberation, happiness and liberation, they go together. You cannot have one without the other, and you cannot have one without cultivating the other. So that's why Irie comes from I free. If I'm not free, then I cannot be Irie and happy. So this is the basic foundation. So the next stage now is, okay, I get this point, I understand. It's all sounding very great and appealing, and I want to be Irie, okay, right. So how do I do? From where do I start? So Ras Iqulah, of course, shares a little example, a little metaphor, which is very, very pertinent. And the core essence of what the elder is saying is that at the foundation of Irieness and freedom and liberation, there is practice. Often we are confused and we think that our well-being depends on external circumstances, when instead we in Rastafari see the things exactly the opposite. It's the dimension that we build within ourselves that will then shape the circumstances around. So the first thing to do is to try to identify those qualities and state of being, state of mind, feelings and emotions that are positive, that are life-bringing, that are healthy. This is the first step. Identify them. So look within your mind as a landscape. Watch the landscape. Observe the landscape of your mind. Study your mind. How am I reacting now that that person is triggering within me a sensitive point? Yeah? Maybe nervousness, maybe rage, anxiety is raising up. So identify the symptoms all over your body. Somebody feels it more in the throat, somebody feels it in the belly, behind the neck, yeah, or your face might go red. When some negative feelings start pushing up, and then you observe it, and you know, hey, there you are again, I see you coming, but this time now, we're gonna work together. I'm not gonna be your slave anymore. I'm really sorry, I've done that for a long time already, and we don't go nowhere. So if you're here within me, there must be a reason. Hey, negative feeling, hey, fear, hey, anxiety, hey, nervousness, rage, jealousy. Come on, man. You need something to do, so let's work together. I can give you a job. It's a very interesting job. It's much better than the job that you think you should perform. The job is to elevate my life so I can elevate you. So you will stop being a negative emotion. You will become fuel for my liberation. Isn't that appealing? Isn't that aspiring? Who can say no to that? It's like, hey, I'm bringing you to a wonderful table. It's full of your favorite foods. Can you deny? Can you say no? I'm inviting you. So the negative emotions say, hey, this man is stuck in something very interesting. You know, until now, I've been a fear, I've been anxiety, I've been jealousy. Yeah, very pointing, very sharpening. My job was to disturb somebody else's happiness, but hey, this man is telling me that I can be somebody else. I can become something else. So I want to join this ride. Maybe this man is right. Let's give it a try. At that point, everything is transformed. This is Irieness. When we use everything negative around us, transforming it, turn it into the fuel, just like an organic compost for the farming. At that point, what do? We only liberate ourselves? No, we liberate this entire creation. That's why Rastafari is the ultimate liberator. Because when I liberate fear within I, when I liberate anger within I, and rage, I am liberating this entire world. So when I make myself Irie, I'm making this world Irie. Because I am free. And that's what I want to do and I want to be. I want to live as a free man, as a free I. So this is the Rastaman call. There is no Irieness without liberation. Liberation starts with identifying and stop labeling your emotions just as negative and toxic and trying to trash them and push them away. No, man, give them a sense, elevate them, because this is the work of the Almighty, which is beyond labels, but is only oneness. In my oneness, in my Irieness, rage has a lot of sense. In my Irieness, anxiety, fears, they have a lot of meaning. So I come here to elevate them and make them become strength, courage, greater compassion, vision, respect, love for every living being. This is Irie. Irie is the language of the new creation. You understand what we say? In this new creation, we are speaking the language of Irieness. Irie is everything that the people wants from Rastafari. Not only doctrine, philosophy, and teaching. They want to be free. And they come to Rastafari because they are thirsty for freedom, for liberation. They don't know how to call it. We give them a name. You're looking for Irieness. Irieness which is beyond any thoughts and concept, which is before any fear, before any laughter. Irieness which is just being in oneness, in the I, in the Irie. As is I, Rasta.
I, Rastafari. Give thanks, Ras Julio. I'm referring forward to the inner garden that Ras Iqulah is mentioning. There is a lake in this garden. Anytime you feel out of balance, take time to go into that garden. Go down to the lake and sit down there and look into the water. The water is windy, so you can't see your face. But sit there a little while till the lake stills and you can see your true self. Then you're free. Then you're Irie again. Yeah? Rastafari.
Yes, so all what we're saying here now, sum it up in a nutshell, that means the Rastaman have a responsibility, and our responsibility is to give the people the teachings of His Majesty, because the teachings of His Majesty keep us in line, because Rastafari said we have to be members of a new race. See, and he said unity is the only accepted goal. That means when we can come together as one human family, then we have Irieness. This is the Irieness we're talking about. Total liberation. Rastafari.
And Rastafari is on a mission and have a great work to do. We are here to make man know and teach man how to live. For thousands of years, man has been under the teaching and preaching that man needs to die in his physical self to go to heaven and there full joy afterlife. But Rastaman is here in this day, in this time, right today, to tell man and woman and children how to live. We have two choices. We went into it yesterday and we're repeating it today. We are given two choices. We can create heaven on earth, or we can create what? Hell on earth. Which one we want? Tell me again. I will.
Yes, I. So it's clear. There is no Irieness without liberation. So there is a difference between freedom and liberation. It's not to be repetitive, but they are not synonymous. They don't have the same meaning, these two words. Freedom and liberation. What is the difference? Freedom is the product of liberation. So liberation is when you liberate yourself, you free yourself from some kind of chain, constriction. So liberation, if we look it up in the dictionary, is freeing yourself from any condition that constrict you, enslave you, but it's also a state of returning to an original freedom. So liberation, according to the dictionary, is when you liberate yourself and you return to the freedom that you were living in before being constricted, enslaved or afflicted. Yeah? So it has two meanings. Liberation, liberating yourself, freeing yourself, but also returning to an original condition. So one could say now, alright, Ras Julio, these things are all very interesting, but we find peace, freedom and liberation in many other philosophies. The Oriental philosophies, the Greek philosophy, the Romans, the African philosophy, many different schools of thought are talking about this. So is this copy and paste from other traditions? Well, first and foremost, of course, we have elements in common because we are talking about the human being and the oneness of the human being. So yes, of course, it's the beauty of it that you find elements in common in different spiritual traditions and spiritual practices, call them religions, philosophies, whatever. But there is a unique, particular element of Rastafari which makes Rastafari different. We're not saying better, we're not saying worse, we're just saying different from other schools of thoughts, and is exactly the I. This I. That means that there is an original Irieness, there is an original state in which we are born free and in which we exist free. So our practice in life is to return, to re-establish, to reawaken that original condition of I, oneness. It's like we were saying yesterday, there is a part of human being which cannot be broken, cannot be demolished, cannot die. That is the Zion within Irieness self, the place where man and God live together. So the I is the foundation of this liberation, not attaining or not going somewhere else, but instead returning to this original oneness. That is the peculiar aspect of Rastafari. What is this I? Let's dive deeper into it. Make it very simple. This I is the messianic person within I and I. Is God in man. Is the Christ man. Is the King within I and I and I. So every one of us has within us this messianic presence, this Messiah living within us. What do we need to do in order to be free? Reawaken His presence. That's it. We need to reawaken His presence within us. That's why we can utilize music, meditation, prayers, reasoning, grounding with the brethren, the sister, living together, but the ultimate goal is to activate the messianic person within you. That's it. That's the ultimate Irieness. Everything is already there. We are born, this creation, in this world, just as the most advanced car, vehicle. When we come out of the factory, we have everything, all the optional. We have them all. But the problem is, we don't know how to use them. It's like when you buy a brand new car, you step into it, you see a lot of buttons and flashlight and things. Wow, what's this? What is this for? That's the condition in which we live in. We have so much in our heavens, in our mind, so much, but we don't know how to use it. Here comes the Rastaman. In the simplicity of the jungle of Jamaica, in the simplicity of the Rasta yard, the Rasta camp, and anywhere we go, we try to awaken this original condition, this Garden of Eden, ultimate, lasting. What about chains, obstacles, and struggles? Because it's easy to be happy when everything goes well. Remember what we said a few minutes ago? Irieness is beyond. So if it's beyond, it's also beyond struggles and problems and afflictions. Chains. Chains, they are the essential instrument for liberation. That's why when I come out of Egypt, in the original language, Egypt means constriction. The word Egypt means constriction. Everything that constricts you, everything that enslaves you, that is our Egypt. Each one of us has the Egypt. So what are we going to do? Let's use Egypt in order to come out of it. If there was no Egypt, we could not know that we had the destiny of being free. Eyes is eye. Eyes is eye.
Yes, I. Rastafari. Sit down and wait on miracle. Poverty is the price. This mental deficiency have its roots in the Antichrist. Dependencies and fantasies are twin brothers in crime. So let's work hard and assure ourselves, and I know your life will be nice. Rastafari blessings. See, that is it. Liberation is hard work. Yes, Rastafari. Yes. How good and how pleasant it is to see I and I gather the people, and I gather with the people, and those oneness, you know. And this is what we're talking about. I and I come together. Where two or three are gathered, Rastafari is in the midst. So let us share the love among I and myself and keep sowing good seeds, you know. This is it, you know. Keep sowing the good seeds day to day. Create that discipline, see? Even in your environment, in your household, make sure that when you rise in the morning, you just say, all right, I'm going to strive toward this Irieness that Ras Julio, Ras Iqulah, and Ras Ibi is talking about. Let's strive toward this Irieness. Creating that discipline day to day. Dwell on the plains of nature. Mama Earth is guided by our natural laws, and closer to nature is closer to Jah. Jah Rastafari. Give thanks.
So having said so, we still have some time, and today we would love to see and we would love to hear from you if you have any questions, any reflections, any observations. This is not only us talking, you know, we also like to hear and learn from all of you. So as you can see, this is a subject which is very universal. It's not only for the Rasta people. Who doesn't want to be happy? Who doesn't want to be free? Who doesn't want to be tranquil and serene at home? So it's relevant for all of us. So if there are any questions, any reasoning and observation, please could you come to the microphone so that the voice can be heard. Give thanks. Welcome, sister. Come in. Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Can you speak a little bit to the Omega, to the woman who somehow these modern times have us liberating something that is a little unknown because it's so powerful and it's been so quiet. So as we are being asked to liberate and move forward and be empowered with love, with the Irie, can you speak a little to that for us? There's a lot of us here.
Give thanks for such wonderful words. Yeah? And it's real, you know, it's really real and true to Sister Irie speaking, because for thousands of years it has been a very patriarchal society where the woman has been downpressed, her qualities has not been come up to the forefront. Now Rastafari, with our great King and Haile Selassie, he did something very unique, 1930 in Ethiopia. He broke all Ethiopian tradition and many world tradition. So he take his beloved wife and crown her on the same day. She was crowned Queen of Kings, just like Haile Selassie first is crowned King of Kings. So he set an example for the whole world. 1930, when we check the world situation, in how many countries woman is even allowed to vote? In even Western countries, right? But this coronation was visited by 72 nations, so all the Western nations are there with their diplomats and photographers and so forth, and they take note of these things. And little by little these things are also changing in society. But we must know now that we are in a time where the woman have a great strength, and our beloved elder, and some would say the first Rastaman, where we used to talk about yesterday about Pinnacle, Leonard Percival Howell. He wrote a book, and in this book now, he is declaring that the woman now have the power, and they are carrying the sheet, the balance sheet, and ready to hand this to King Alpha. So the woman have a great, great role to fulfill. So Rastaman has been, for many years, Rastaman was looked upon that we are very chauvinistic and male-oriented. But it's not really like that. But in the beginning, yes, there was just 3 men, independent of each other, who sight it. And little by little, women come in and children come in, and these days it's family. So women have a great, great role. This battle, this liberation can never be won without the woman. That is, it's Queen Omega. Yeah man, hear the item. Rastafari. We love the item to the max. Must know that. Woman, you have a great role. So whoever have a woman, every woman you know yourself. Get to know yourself, right? The powers were in you. In the item. And every man who have a relation to a woman, respect her. Yeah? So like my brother man is saying that the Rastaman in his full glory allow the queen to portray her queenly characteristics because she have her department, and the king in his department portray his kingly characteristics, putting 2 energies together, the female energy and the male energy, that creates the balance, divine union, Rastafari. Yeah man, that's where we go, and that's why the system set up in a way now that they try to break this divine and royal unity. You see how Rastaman move? We say king man, we say queen, empress. We don't degrade the woman amongst Irie. Yeah, we uplift any woman. That is Irie role, as man, as lion, because the woman is lioness the same way. So we uplift the woman by declaring to her so she know herself as a queen, an empress, a princess if she young. So woman, love the item, much respect for Jah created man and woman. So Babylon always like to break that, and now these days you know what kind of teaching they showing the people then. You don't have to go into that. But yeah, it's a divine thing, you know. Without man and woman, can't move forward from here nowhere.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
And that's one of my main reasons why I did not like the church system, because they suppress women energy. Yeah, that's the reason why Iqulah personally never liked the church system, because they suppress women energy, the female energy. Rastaman corrected by His Majesty come crown, as the Virgin said, 1930, with his empress, the royal union of the king and the queen, Jah Rastafari.
It's good to add just a little thing, even though everything has been said, but let I not just bring in some ancient prophecies, very interesting, mystical prophecies. They say that during the Messianic time, one of the things that will strike the world is that the women will be empowered to a level that they had never experienced before. So the female presence in the world, everywhere in the world, will be elevated, will be liberated from the patriarchal constriction and so forth. So this is not something that is just happening, it's something that prophets have said thousands of years ago. During the Messianic times, and these are the Messianic times in which we are living in, according to Rastafari tradition, since Haile Selassie I is the returned Messiah, these are the Messianic times. So one of the characteristic elements of the Messianic time is the emancipation of the woman in everything, school, education, work, her presence alone in everything and in everywhere. So we are observing what was prophesied, enough years ago. And Majesty, His Imperial Majesty Alice Ras I gave the perfect activation of this process, like Ras Ibi said, allowing, making sure, desiring, wanting, ordering that Empress Menen would be crowned the same day as him. So these are the times in which we are living. Our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, they are precious gems that we have to take care of and we have to listen to. So it's very interesting to see how the wise man said, when you find yourself in a point where you cannot find the way forward, you don't know where to go, and you have finished all your resources, ask to your wife. Ask your wife. And we find this in the Bible many times. Patriarchs asking the opinions of the wife. What shall we do? Or the wife coming in and say her opinion. And the destiny was directed according to our opinion. So very important. Listen to the Omega energy. Listen to your wives, to your sister, to your female friends. This is the time. Everything is happening and we are observing. Eyes is eye.
Yeah, and don't forget that within every woman, she knows a male energy the same way, and every man have that female energy within himself. Otherwise, you could not communicate with each other, right? Yeah, don't forget that. So it's up for a man, just like we said, it's the time for the Omega energy now. Every man have to know that too. He must be looking at himself now and balance the Alpha and Omega energies within himself. Because first, when you balance in yourself, you can balance with the next individual. Yeah? So we have to find the balance, the divine balance within ourselves with those energies. And then everything will be healthy and nice. In our inner societies, as well as in our outer areas. Yeah? Give thanks and praise for today. It's been so wonderful to have you here. And come on, it's still just the beginning. It's not the end. Yeah?
Any more questions? We still have some time. Any more questions? Otherwise we could speak about this topic for hours, but let's move on because maybe somebody else has something to share, to ask. Yes, brother, well, come in. Greetings, my brother. Bless.
Greetings. I hear you talking and I ask myself, where is the female power in the house of Rastafari? Only men talking here. Where is the Queen Omega power to talk to the people? Yes. Gracias.
Yes, I bless the Lord. Everybody give thanks to stay here. And first give thanks for my family in this perfect balance. Even if I'm alone now, I'm not alone. I'm not I and I. There is another sister here, another that was coming, and the little princess. I saw many sisters here, so we are never alone. And the power in the house of Rastafari is, just look at that image that we have. We have king and queen. King and queen is Alpha and Omega inside us first. And then it's this time that lioness are a little bit in their place, because the lions that were not real lions put some chains, and so it's time to liberate this lioness to stay in the right place with their kings. So we have to we start to feel the queen that we have inside each of us, and start to demand this respect that each each person, each human being has. But as a powerful queens, each one has its different way to express. So there is not one more, one better than another. We need all I and I powerful, beautiful expression of Jah in us. So just don't be ashamed, because in my life, when I meet Rastafari culture, I start to feel the power of the Queen that since years and generation and since all what happens in history, we always have, because Jah gave to us at the same perfect balance as king and queens in these royalties. So give thanks and put out your strength, your respect, your difference, your beauty, and without jealousy, without, we are sisters at the beginnings, as a child, sisters and brothers, and I'm living this beautiful, wonderful experience of family with a lot of kings, yes, a lot of lions, as in every family that you have two children that are kings and one queen, but doesn't matter numbers. It's just that kind of power that we need, and then we have to be in this unity and stay all together. So when we reach this kind of unity, then I think we can change things. So give thanks, and I would like also my sister, my lioness that I met last year, and since last years, it's not the only one queen. There are many there. Barbara sisters, there is Carola sisters. That comes since one perfect time, because the time is the same. It's not just last year's. It's each experience that gives us this reconnaissance. I saw another sister there, glad that I just met in this life that is only living life. Start to work, and then you met all your sisters or your brothers, and keep touch together and bring this powerness to stay in the same garden, because Jah garden is for us, kings and queens. Give thanks, blessings.
Right. I'm not going to talk about sisters, because I don't think that sisters really need to be, to be on stage. Not everybody, for example, I'm very, very afraid to be here on the microphone and talk to all these people. But I'm not going to talk about sisters because the theme of today is Irieness, right? So my contribution today is sharing a book that I was reading last year at the Rototom, and really helped me finding some kind of inner peace. I'm not right there, but I'm I'm almost there. And it's not a Rastafarian author. His name is Sean. His last name is Sean. I think he's an American with an Indian background. And the title of this book is The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I don't know if any of you know this book. And in this book, just like Ras Iqulah was mentioning, our life is just like a garden. And in this book, you can learn how to, every night, so not every morning, every night, before maybe, Omega energy, moon, and Alpha energy, sun. So Ras Iqulah does it in the morning, I do it at night, just before going to sleep. So before going to sleep, you kind of look at what you've been doing during the day, and everything that was not good, you write it down, and you try not to do tomorrow. Everything that was good, you write it down, and you try to repeat it tomorrow. If you do this, I can't remember how many days, maybe 40 days, or can't remember how many days the book says that you should be doing this. it turns out to be a routine, and you start to weed all your garden, so to remove all the weed of the are in your life, and then you start to improve and become a better person and find inner peace and Irieness within yourself. So that's my contribute today.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sisters. Yes, I. Yeah, man, it's a vibe.
Yes, the next energy, according to the brother over there, that Well, my brother, I must tell you something. We are the kings that look at the women and crown them queens. We are the first set of people start to call all the female empresses queens, princes, and princesses, So the Rastaman always leads the way to teach people. In Jamaica, the simple woman in the street might be walking, and the Rastaman is passing and said, Empress, salute, Empress, show that respect. In Jamaica, we respect female energy. We turn all the women in Jamaica queen, empresses. Yes, so give thanks for your input, my brother. Blessings.
Give thanks, family. So there is time for one final question. If anybody of you have something to ask, something to say. Yeah? Brother, please. Greetings and welcome.
I would like to come back to Irieness, and we didn't talk about the qualities of the spirit, right? So I would like to know if we can use them, and if yes, how can we cultivate them in order to reach Irieness? Because as you teach, they're very important.
You mean the gifts of the spirit? All right. Yes, I. Very important.
Spiritual practice. Iqulah was mentioning it before also. It don't just happen by itself. Spiritual practice. Make it a inner discipline. Spiritual practice. Try to learn to control your thought processes. Look at them. Look at your thought processes. Try to identify those weeds, those things where you don't like, and fade them out, weed them out, and look at those good principles, good things, and elevate them, nurture them, and make them grow. It takes spiritual practice. The more you give, the more you will receive. The more time, the more of your focus, life energy you put into that spiritual practice. It's just like you want to learn an instrument, right? And if you want to master this instrument, you will spend hours every day picking this guitar till you're like Jimi Hendrix. Yeah? And spiritual practice is the same. It don't just happen overnight, but when you're up on the path now, take your time, give yourself time, don't be harsh on yourself, because on the spiritual tradition, sometimes the development are microscopic. Don't expect wonders just happen like that. But within time, you will see that, and people around you will say that, brother, you have changed. Yeah? So just keep practicing, because a physical practice, spiritual, mental, they go hand in hand. You can't take the one from the other, but give yourself time, put away your mobile. I call it the hour of power. If everyone can give themselves the hour of power every day, that means 1 hour every day, give yourself the freedom of not talking. Not singing, not chanting, not talking. Try to still the inner voice and be quiet for an hour. That is very building for the spirit. Yeah? Thank you so much.
Something very interesting here. If you look in Isaiah 11, you see that the Messianic King will have these spirits of wise mind, of intellect, understanding, of strength, and so forth. There are some qualities that we call the gifts of the Spirit. We talk about this in the book Zion Train. These are not only titles or qualities of the Messiah, but it turns out that they are also qualities that each individual has. within himself or herself. These qualities now, which we call the gifts of the Spirit, like the brother is saying, they are not only characteristics of our character. If we look into wise mind, wisdom, or intellect, understanding, overstanding, these are characteristics of the Almighty within ourselves, which He expresses Himself through these characteristics. In other words, every human being is endowed with these qualities, that they are the direct expression of the divine within ourselves. That is why Isaiah says that the Messiah, the Messianic King, will have these spirits, these qualities. Right. So how is that relevant for all of us? Small, little, fragile individuals that keeps making mistakes, seeking betterment, and so forth. It turns out that if we learn how to identify and cultivate each one of these gifts of the spirits, then we can construct our spiritual pathway in such a way that we can attain our liberation, our train to Zion. So it's just like, somebody could say, it's just like yoga, it's just like a practice. Aina tradition has its own practice for elevation and betterment and realization. So the gifts of the spirits, this quality of the spirits, learn how to identify them, know what they are, how you can strengthen them, how can you cultivate them, and then ultimately how you can apply them in your everyday life. And you will see miracles happening. Liberation is not only something that you can apply to your present and future. That is one stage of it, but we go beyond that. Listen, liberation is something that you can apply to your past. People speak about liberating your future or your present. I speak about liberating also your past. How do you liberate your past? When you give a role, a job, and everything bad that happened in your past that made you suffer now has brought you to a place where you are growing. So when your past become your fuel for activation, for elevation, for healing, then you have liberated your past. Activating this messianic person within you through the cultivation of the gifts of the Spirit, just like a spiritual practice, and you liberate your past, your present, your future. That is the ultimate Irieness. That is the ultimate oneness with the bigger I within I. Isis I, His Majesty. Final words from the House of Rastafari. Time is running.
Am I run?
Yes, I.
All right.
Time I run.
I was just going to share something with the brother there, that to be observant with Mama Nature. You know, where I do my farming in California, it's a very serious area in terms of the wildlife. And being observant to Mama Nature. You know, I plant figs up in the mountains in California, and I realized that I used to have to put up a lot of wire fence to protect from the bears. You know, the big bears, they love all the figs. And I was thinking one day, I have to find a formula how to keep the bears from coming in and mash the fence, the wire fence. And I said to myself, yes, I plant X amount of fig trees. So why not plant some for the bears? Because the bears keep coming. So what I did now, I pull the wire fence down and make sure that when the harvest is in, I take buckets of figs and take all the way to the bottom, at the riverside, and spread them out, and then the bears stop coming to the farm. They get their feeding. So I work in harmony with nature. So, my brother, we have to just be observant with the law of nature. And it's the same thing, you see ants coming to your house, you don't run for the chemical spray to spray the ants. You can take a little honey and walk the ants right back out of the house. So be observant with Mama Nature. Rastafari, blessings.
Thank you for being present here. Enough love, devotion, strength. Enjoy this beautiful day. Have a wonderful evening. Give thanks for life, and thanks once again for being part of this strong energy which is the House of Rastafari. Blessed love, Rastafari, one and for all.